Today is Wednesday, July 28, 2004. This is a meeting of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners.
No.
That's good, though.
But it was good.
Well, we had some pretty good people on that, you know.
That Michelle Mann was something else. Yeah. And then, this Stefan, somebody, what's his name? Harold, he's on the board.
Well, Reisinger's still on there, isn't he?
Uh-huh.
What's Rich doing now?
He's the head of CBC's foundation.
Oh, he is. He's an outstanding guy, I think.
Yeah, he is. But boy, he didn't get along with his boss, evidently. Got fired.
Well, they cut him back out there, though,
Yeah, well, he didn't have nothing good to say about her.
Oh.
I got to give this to Lori. Anyway, he was talking about the marrow corpse, and so I'll give it to her. Remember when she tried to get a person for 4-H Hispanic?
Mm-hmm.
So he said, well, there's money. It's getting funded again. So I'll give it to Lori.
Good morning, Jack.
Morning.
I do not have a consent agenda this morning.
We don't?
We don't. It's slowing down.
Well, good.
But I do need a motion.
I move approval of expenditures in the amount of $12,817.45.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is going to be a long day, Sue.
Mm-hmm.
I got your message on Dave Hopper. I didn't get home till after 5.
Oh, yes.
Because of my meetings. But Friday, I've got that retreat.
Yeah, and that's what I told him. But he was hoping that maybe in the morning.
Well, it just depends. I got to call my hairdresser to
Or
see
August 2nd.
what's that day.
It's a Monday.
Well, why not August 2nd?
Okay. I'll let him know that. Any particular time?
Well,
Like we're finishing up around, you could probably meet with him at 11.
Yeah.
If it doesn't grow.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay.
So in 11 or thereabouts.
Okay. I need a motion for.
Oh, we got an answer kind of from Mary on the Grid West. That's good.
I move for approval of the payroll vouchers as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Am I supposed to go to that library board thing?
As a chair, yes.
Well, did we get
We've been getting the financial statement on it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but did we get the agenda and when the meetings are?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I
Well,
thought.
Yeah, we do.
We don't really get agendas, though.
No, but they tell you what they're
Tell
going to
us,
do.
yeah.
Well, I guess I've missed them.
Their noon meetings.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever changed. Your name has been on that since the beginning of time.
Hers? No, I went to my name. They sent it to me.
Well, I got the stuff and I went to some of the meetings, but Neva's name was generally on it.
Oh, maybe it was. Well, Neva, then you should be
just like
going.
me.
If somebody
I
writes
can
to
tell you they do.
Do it.
Do you want to change anything on that, Mr. Brock?
I don't know what you change. I might want to change my phone number on that.
What is,
Let's see, August 5th at 6 o'clock. Is a Thursday.
No.
Oh, tell
I I don't think
Helen's
I'll be
on.
able to go.
Yeah, I like him.
Tom is a nice man.
He
What is
really
the
is.
date?
It's Thursday, August 5 at 6 o'clock.
What am I doing?
Nothing?
I'm not doing anything?
No?
Is it just a reception? It's not a dinner or anything?
Doesn't look like it. No. They do want to RSVP.
Did you know they're going to have a big 100th birthday
Yeah.
party for Sam?
Yeah, I saw Sam and he's told me I better be there. Because I haven't
When
been
does
there.
he turn 100?
When is it? I don't know. They always send us an invitation
But that guy is just as keen.
though. I know it. See, I a couple times I wished him happy birthday and told him I was sorry I didn't get to his birthday party. So when he saw me the last time, he says, "You better be there." He said, "'Cause this might be the last birthday I'm having."
I want to go.
It's next week.
Let's see how next week goes.
Okay. But we need to RSVP.
By when?
It doesn't say, it just says RSVP.
Well, they just want to get name tags out properly for you. Don't you think?
I hate to. Where is it at again?
Oh, Shiloh in Richmond.
Yeah, probably. I'll
I
go.
might go to that. It won't be for very long. Yeah, I'll go RSVP for me too.
It's in your thing. I'll put it back in your notebook. Since it had your name on it. All right. And the other thing I need to ask, Neva already said yes, so you're thinking about October 9th to the 14th, which I
Oh.
would need to cancel a Monday and a Wednesday board meeting. But on the 14th, I wasn't sure if you were going to go to the after-school network panel in Olympia. When we do that.
Not unless Lori Sherfy goes.
Okay. And you had a Washington State Parks and Recreation Committee meeting in the Tri-Cities and also a Council on Aging from 9 to 4, the joint meeting with the AAA.
Well, are we
Advisory
gone?
Council.
Are we gone to this APTA thing on the 14th?
Yes. So if you went to APTA, you would have to return on the 13th in order to go to this on the 14th.
Well, when is the APTA time frame?
October 9th through the 14th.
Okay, but I wonder if it's sometimes the last day is tours and a big dinner and reception of APTA.
I can ask her.
Yeah, would you find out? Because, I
We
could
could come
skip
back.
those.
We could
Yeah.
come back on
On
the
the 13th.
13th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you come back on the 13th, you want to go?
Well, are both of my things where I can get to them, or is one, are they at the same time, or what, on the 14th?
One's in the Tri-Cities, and the other one is location to be determined on the Council of Aging.
Okay,
which
that's
I'm
usually always
over
it.
there.
Morning.
Good morning.
Well,
You got all that stuff
I
figured out
probably
for
should
us?
go to the Council
No,
on
actually,
Aging
I was
since
wondering if it would be
I've been
possible
appointed
for me
to
to
it.
come in when Ray
I
comes
would
in.
rather
Try
go to
get
the other
that
one, but
done. I think
I think I
Pretty
could go
close
to
to
the
having
Council
it.
on Aging.
They've offered not.
But see, I missed the
I know.
first one. I got to
You
the
know what?
second one. I don't want to
I have-
miss
I
all
carefully
this.
checked it when you.
So
I said, I told Pat that
if you
this
can
makes
end it on
sense.
the,
If not, I'll just have to come
that's
back and
good. That's
go.
good information.
well, that would make sense.
Well, it would make sense, except that I don't know if that's, she's going to be able to do that with the
So I won't be
ticket.
in until Ray.
That
But
I
it
would then
skews
get to
our
come over here.
department a little bit
See,
because we put
A
the
lot of
board
times you can't stop for a
secretary
day in the
in
middle
our-
of your
You know,
tickets.
that was cut out.
You
and
know,
so
I could
didn't-
go to
didn't
Seattle
put
and
that
fly.
in there
So
because
I would,
it
then
got
I would
transferred
rather
over to
fly.
Florida.
If she can do
Okay.
that,
Yeah,
fine.
well,
If not,
yeah,
I'll just
because
have to fly
Board of
home and
Equalization,
fly over the
Board
next
of,
day.
Okay.
Because I'm
This
sincerely
Disability
hoping that
Board
it's
was
going to be
transferred
held
over
right
to
there at
Sherry's duty.
Seton.
She was
Oh,
increased
yeah.
as a full-time
Well, I will,
employee.
Is she doing all right with us?
Maybe we just better
Is she
plan
doing
on
all
if we
right
can come
with
home the
facility?
13th.
You know,
See what's
since
on
I
the
have
14th.
been on the
Come on the
thing,
13th and
Sherry
we'll
has
just
been there
fly
with
back.
the kids. So
you know what he did yesterday? He was so hungry.
How are you? Come on up, eat for us.
Okay, I
Tell
want
us
to
all
give
about
you
it.
this. This is in regard to AmeriCorps.
Oh.
And the I'm on a committee with the gentleman that heads that. So would you give that to Lori and
I
tell her
will.
that maybe she could contact him? Because he said there's funding, and he might be able to help her. Because I told her what we tried to do with the Hispanic 4-H leadership.
Okay, well, I'll give that.
Errol or something like that.
Well, I've been sort of trying to catch up. I was gone last week. I've been chairman for, it's hard to believe I was here a month ago talking to you, and that it's 4 years ago since I started being chairman in the office, or
Bill's been going for 4 years.
4 years, yeah. So the university expects us all to go for some sort of managerial training, and it always has conflicted with some other meeting or field activities, and I hadn't gone, so this year they made sure I went. But it was in San Diego, so it was a nice place to go for a meeting, and it was an interesting meeting. A lot of discussion about fundraising, and that seems to be one of the main activity of extension managers throughout the Western United States.
And a lot of other places.
So it was interesting. They had some good, useful information, which when we have our staff meeting with the extension faculty next week, I'll try to share and give them some ideas. But it was a good meeting. They had some excellent speakers, and of course, I knew the people from Washington State, and had a chance to meet people from Arizona and California and Nevada and all. Much more used to going to meetings and learning about vegetables, but this was something a little different. I did, I realized you weren't able to attend that CPO training. I did go, and there were 2 people from Franklin County who were at
What
that.
was your opinion of it?
I thought it was pretty good. And I brought you the book. Of course, I only got one book, but if you wanted to share that, there's information on. I mean, it was a lot about communications with people and how to do that.
And building trust, does
Yeah,
it say?
it says communicate, building trust, and engaging your community.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a lot of people from Yakima. I sat at the table with the 2 people from the clerk and
I think Tiffany was there.
Tiffany, yeah, and so 2 from Franklin County. There were 2 people from Benton County, and then there were a lot of people from Walla Walla and Yakima. That was the main scattering of other.
Now, was that held in the Tri-Cities?
Yeah, was it?
That was the Tri-City.
It was
Sue and I were both signed up for
Yeah,
that.
it was at the Red Lion. So that was we spent a morning, a whole day actually.
Yeah, it was supposed to be before and after.
It reminded me of my vegetable meetings with everybody just waiting to get that sign up sheet to get the credits.
Yeah.
Just like pesticide credits and.
Yeah.
So anyway, you can take a look at that. There were a couple more handouts, and one of them I was able to get 3 copies, and one of them I just have 1. So seems like I've been going to meetings out into the field, looking at now that we've got such warm weather, a lot of heat stress on plants.
On everything, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
On our flowers.
Yeah.
In our yard.
Besides your flowers wilting, some of the potatoes are wilting as well. Any problems that they have, they show up in a hurry.
Are this potato field just north of where they're building out here at Track?
Uh-huh.
That's been dry out there for I don't know how long, and they haven't dug him yet. And I can't figure that out. Are you?
No, I didn't see that field.
Okay, I'm just curious because the potatoes they haven't been watering it either.
Which one? Where
It's on the right hand side, just going out, just north.
I'll
Just
have to
north of
ask
Track.
about that.
That's got to be Lehigh Planners or Randy's.
I wonder why they haven't dug
I
that.
don't know.
Well, I'll see if I can find out. I've got a meeting today with our monthly potato meeting.
Did you go to Fayette, Myers Kenneth? I had a conflict. God, that was a shock to me. She passed away.
So we're talking about wireworms today in our meeting, and then we've got a meeting tomorrow on aphids, a lot of plant. Now is the time when
Well, tell me about these hummingbird moths. Are they harmful?
I think what people are seeing. Yeah,
I
actually,
thought they were hummingbirds. And
My husband says they're laying eggs and there's going to be worms.
you know
there.
what they? Oh, well, the moths are not harmful. The larva is one of the larvae. There are a number of these, but it's the tomato hornworm. So if you see a large, if you have tomatoes in your garden and you have a large green caterpillar on it, that grows up and becomes the sphinx moth. It's called a sphinx moth, and it's an adult.
Is that what that
And
is? That thing
it
that's
flies
flying
around, and it has a tube that it
It's a sphinx
puts
moth.
into flowers and takes the nectar.
Oh, I had
And they're
tons of
big.
them.
yeah, we all,
Yeah.
everybody's
I
got
think
them.
everybody
And
has.
everybody thought they were those cute little hummingbirds.
Well, I
That's what
thought maybe they were baby hummingbirds whose wings had feathers hadn't got on there because we have a lot of hummingbirds up the
Well, they're
cabin
almost-
and
they're almost as
pretty
big.
little things, but these are kind of
What you see is butterflies over alfalfa right now. They're
The
not.
white ones.
They're armyworms.
yeah.
And they haven't been so bad, but I see there have been armyworms out this year, so I don't know how bad the infestation
So what do you spray for those big long green things?
Usually, the best thing is just if you can find
Just
them, is
pick
just
'em
pick
off?
them off because there's usually only one or so, but they're quite good at hiding and camouflaging themselves because they're green and they sort of have a pattern to them.
They carry little guns?
No, they
Camouflage?
no, they just camouflage. Just little spots
I'm
on
going
them.
to look for them because I
But you'll notice they'll eat the leaves and they'll even eat the fruits. They get they're as big as they'll get as big as your finger. Well, you can
gosh.
imagine if they get to be as the adult ones are big enough to look like a hummingbird. Mm-hmm. But that's the easiest way is just knock them off and step
I took
on
a
them.
million pictures of those sphinx moths
They don't
because I
like
thought they were
tomato worms.
hummingbirds.
You pick those dudes off the tomato plant.
Yeah.
Well,
They're called a hornworm because at the end of their body they've got a little tail that sticks out like a horn.
do they bother any other plants besides tomato?
That's the only one I'm aware of, but it's possible that
They'll
if
eat
it's
it.
something related to a tomato, they could. I don't know if they would eat a pepper plant or.
It's funny that this year is when everybody seemed to be experiencing them.
Well, can you still use parathine spray? You use malathion, but
You
can
use
you
malva, we've been getting, I guess. They're looking at all of those materials. Parathion, I'm not sure that I don't think people are using that on the crops I work with now.
Not on your crop. You can use. Used to be able to use it on alfalfa with it had about a 2-week residual on it
I'll have to ask Tim about.
because that's really good.
I don't know if you want to use it on the tomato hornworms.
You find out. You can use malathion though.
Yeah, but usually, because there's so few, that's why it's usually not worth spraying all of your tomato plants just for hornworms.
Because they're not that
They're so
plentiful.
Yeah, but one of them can do quite a bit of damage, but their damage is pretty noticeable because they have good appetite. So I'll ask about that too. I don't know. I drove up to my flight from. I tried to save money on my travel, so instead of flying out of Pasco, I drove up to Spokane and flew out. But the flight was at 8 in the morning, so we had to leave here at 4. And there were a lot of big moths on the road
yeah.
flying.
Oh my!
It was noticeable because when they hit,
They're
you heard
suicidal, aren't
it.
they? Yeah.
And you have to use the windshield wiper. But anyway, because I've got the two speakers coming in for my potato meetings today and tomorrow are both entomologists, so I'll ask them a little bit about this if they've noticed it. Although it's not their specialty, but I suspect they're aware of these things.
Where are they from?
The speaker today is with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and they have a big research lab at Mabton. And so this is a researcher, and his project is on wireworms. That's been when I first came here 21 years ago, they had a researcher working on wireworms, and it was a problem, and then it seemed to sort of go away, and that fellow retired, and nothing happened for quite a number of years, and then potato growers and other growers have been having increasing problems with wireworms, and so the USDA has put in some hired new entomologists, and they're working on this problem again. And it's a slow process because wireworms are a very difficult insect to work with. They have such a long life cycle. Most insects, you get one generation a year, or sometimes even multiple generations. But wireworms, the wireworm itself, the larva, lives in the soil for 5-6 years before they become adults.
That's why so many crops you have to put that pre-plant stuff in the soil.
And it's very hard to sample for them, and it's a native insect, so they're always here. And then tomorrow we have a researcher from the Prosser Station who works on aphids. Aphids are a perennial problem with potatoes, so we usually have him come in once a year and give an update on it.
What do they spray on aphid and potatoes? They're a different kind of aphid than hit alfalfa, but they're the same family.
It's amazing. This fellow gives one very interesting talk on aphids in general. And aphids, you should sort of think of them as all being alike, but actually there's almost one aphid for every different plant there is.
For every different crop,
And they look different.
Like the ones on our roses, they're different than...
The ones on, if you have them on your roses, it's not one that you have to worry about going to your tomatoes.
But fruit aphid, the aphids that get on the fruit can get in the potatoes, can't they?
There's a different aphid.
Is it a different
I
one?
thought,
I've
there
been told
are
that
a
for
few.
years.
There's one or two that go to multiple crops.
Okay.
The one on potatoes is called green peach aphid. And
That's probably why I thought that.
So it winters on the peach trees and the bark, but when it comes out, it's looking for potatoes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then that's what I was
they
always
fly
told,
off to the
because
nearest potato plant.
But you got it. But they winter on the peach tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Okay, that's
winter on
where I
the
got
peach.
that.
The potato bug, the yellow bug with the stripes on
Yes,
it.
Colorado potato beetle.
Yeah, the potato beetle. It works on nightshade, which is
Yes.
a tuber also. And if you get nightshade in the crop, that potato beetle is good to have because it'll take out the nightshade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's only with the aphids that they seem to be so specific. So it's that's one of the unique things about aphids.
You got a few minutes.
Oh, okay. Anyway, the rest of the time, we're not putting on meetings, and when we're not out in the field looking at problems, I've got all the planning sessions go on at this time of the year, working on our vegetable convention, which will be in November in Pasco, and trying to get all the speakers for that, and then we've got a Spanish language potato workshop that we put on in conjunction with the potato conference in Moses Lake, and that planning session is coming up next week.
Now, where are you going to have your vegetables?
This is all. It has been at the
Red
Lion.
Lion.
I think we have a contract with Red Lion for the next 3 or 4 years, but I know that the association has been contacted by the convention center in Kennewick. So
We can offer you probably better facilities at the track now with the hotel next to
yeah,
it.
I told them about that hotel, so I think we need to get them over to look at that because they could also have their trade show inside. It's never brought in.
To have a potato conference across the river, I'm serious. They don't
Oh,
raise
this is-
any potatoes over there hardly.
No, this is the Vegetable Association. Now, the Potato Conference in Moses Lake, I hear, and this I don't know. This I only hear from rumors or gossip that they're looking at in the future considering bringing the Potato Conference to the Tri-Cities.
And
I
we
heard
need
they
to
were looking for a
contact
new
them.
place.
The track. Track would, really, these are things that grow here in Benton County. Any
It,
potatoes
it'll
are
be,
things.
but it won't happen without a fight. But before the way the potato conference was organized, it was really run through the Chamber of Commerce in Moses Lake. And when I first came, there was a grower or two who talked about moving it down here. We talked about it, and they just squashed the idea immediately.
I think the Pasadena Chamber would be very interested
Oh,
in that.
I'm sure they have been and will be. But now the potato conference is organized through the Potato Commission, and so that
Yeah.
resistance is
We need to
not
talk
there.
to Maureen at Track and get on board on this thing because I think we
I
need
think
to.
Track has worked on it before Maureen was there.
Pardon?
I think Track was working on it before Maureen
But Maureen
was
is
there.
working
Yeah,
full
we
time
got
on
her
this.
now.
So I mean, this would be something in the future. I know we're already, big
Eric,
on our.
but
The plans are already in place for this next year. But
Before you leave, I feel obligated to show those to you and let you be on the list.
And because he's such a good friend of yours, he won't even charge you for one.
Gee.
Or two.
Well-
oh my God!
Actually, you
How
can
many
get two
are
for the price of
They're-
none.
they're
Four or
10.
six.
That's
They're 10 of
two
them.
for the price of one, which is nothing, because
Well,
he's giving them away.
I'm obligated to, we're going to have a drawing is the only fair way I can do it.
Don't you put my name on the drawing.
Well,
Greg is going to get two names in there, really.
Yeah, he should. Because your little girl is so little and she won't be able to play with him so much, but they can play with each other.
Well, I was going to try to help you,
well,
but I guess
will.
I can't.
I'll tell everybody in my office.
So,
How are they described?
they're genuine.
Genuine?
Bunch of dogs.
They're genuine, and they are available now.
Okay.
Are those dew claws removed in all the shots?
Everything's taken care of.
You fib.
Well, I will give this. I'll get this delivered to Lori.
Lori.
And I'll try to arrange to get our new district director in to meet with you,
Okay.
Randy Baldry. His mother just died. His mother has been sick for some time, and so he's back in Texas at the moment. But I will see if I can't arrange for him to come in for one of these meetings so that you can all meet him.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Morning.
We're here for a public hearing in regard to a short plat 2004-11 to consider an application by Violet Mayberry for preliminary approval to short plat 7.73 acres into 4 lots. Lot 1 is approximately 5.37 acres in size. Lot 2 is approximately 1.06 acres in size. Lot 3 is approximately 0.58 acres in size, and Lot 4 is approximately 0.72 acres in size. The property is zoned residential suburban, 20,000. And with that, Commissioner Brock, Corcoran, and Miller are present, along with Mary Withers, our clerk of the board, Greg Wint, and Jared McPherson, and there are individuals in the audience. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Greg.
This is short plat 2004-11. As was just stated, the applicant, the Mabrys, have applied to short plat 7.73 acres into 4 lots. The property is zoned in our half-acre RS20 zoning. It's located east of Road 100, west of 96, south of the Franklin County Irrigation District Canal, and north of Argent Road. The property is located at the intersection of 96 and Maple Drive. As submitted, the application is in compliance with our county subdivision ordinance 3 of 2000, and we are recommending approval subject to the findings of fact and the conditions of approval as stated in the action summary.
This is a copy of the plat that was submitted by the applicant. This is Road 96 in Maple Drive. Right across the road is Red Run Court, which was developed by John and Joey Kashong.
Can you see that in the audience?
Was developed by John and Joey Kashong some years back. Red Run Court. Down further, a little south is West Vineyard Estates, with Merlot Drive and Syrah Drive, and just at the intersection of Argent and 96. This is existing Maple Drive, and there are homes built on these lots here. This is the perimeter of the short plat here at this location. Lot 1 is 5.37 acres, which Mr. Mabry is currently working with a gentleman to purchase this and further subdivide this at a later date. Lot number 2, where the existing home is 1.06 acres. Lot 3 at the corner of 96 and Maple is 0.58, and just north of that is 0.72 for lot number 4. We do have some conditions. It must comply with the health department standards. A fire hydrant is required at this location once lot number 1 is further divided. So if lot number 1 goes forward with their subdivision plan, they will be required to put in a hydrant here. So it won't really affect their short plat. And there is another hydrant located across the street.
Well, now, if lot 1 is further divided, that'll be another short plat, won't it?
Short plat or subdivision. It'd probably have to be a subdivision because the state doesn't allow you to do a short plat on the same piece of property within a 5-year period.
Oh.
But they'll allow you to do a long plat.
Okay.
And Mr. I forget your name, sorry. Mr. Beatty has already actually applied for the subdivision for this, so that'll go to the planning commission here shortly.
Now, is there water and sewer out that way?
There is water. I don't know if there's actual sewer, but they won't let them hook up to it anyway. So, but with the city water and the size of the lots, with the engineered septic systems, it'll be able to.
You have to have city water to put the fire hydrants.
Right. Exactly. And there is a city water line that runs through all the way through the property. It is a 6-inch city water line.
Okay.
There is a temporary cul-de-sac here shown. Public Works is requiring that either be constructed or a bond posted. That's just in case this gentleman decides not to pursue his development, then Mr. Mabry would either build that or Public Works could cash that construction bond and build it themselves. But if Mr. Beatty decides to go forward with his development, that construction bond or the paving of that won't be required at this time, or won't be needed, and will be given back to Mr. Mabry when this is extended through here for the development.
Is there a road to the west of that?
No.
No.
It would dead end somewhere in this area. It would just extend a little bit further north to accommodate lots on both sides. Public Works also requests that they add the standard language for approach permits and LID, RID statements. Each lot of the short plat must have an irrigation valve installed or $500 per lot posted with the irrigation district. The PUD wants their standard statement for property owners installing the trench conduit, so forth, junction boxes. We have our standard 1-year approval, and then the lots are required the $300 urban area park fund, except for the lot with the home on it. And that $300 can either be paid up front or pushed off to the individual lot owners as they come in for building permits. So with that, we would recommend preliminary approval with the findings and conditions as specified.
Okay. So I'll open it up to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that is opposed to this short plat? Is there anyone in the audience opposed? And for the third and last time, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I will go to, is there anyone in the audience that is in favor and would like to speak? Okay. Well, just state your name and say
I'm
your
Gene Beatty. I'm the one purchasing lot 1, the 5.37 acre.
So you're in favor. Okay. And with that, I'll dispense with any more public comment. Evidently, we're shy. So I'll close that and ask the board if they have any further questions.
I want to ask one question on the cul-de-sac. Would you explain that again? The cul-de-sac is required to be bonded now, is that correct?
Either built or bonded, but there's no sense in building it at this point if this gentleman moves forward with his development.
So all we'd have to do is bond it then?
We would bond it, and then if this gentleman moves forward with that, my understanding is the bond would be given back.
His bond money?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and that bond is just an assurance in case Mr. Beatty decides not to move forward with that.
What's the
Okay, but
time?
we're talking about Mayberry's doing the bond.
Correct.
Because it's their short plat.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
But what are we talking about time frame on that?
For
Holding the bond? In other words, how long do you have to keep that money up for the bond before the bond money would be returned?
as soon as this road is constructed or this gentleman posted the bond, it could be given back right away.
But
Say he doesn't do that,
But what I'm saying is, they're going to put the road in now. They're not going to require the cul-de-sac. They're going to require a bond. Okay, suppose nothing happens out here in perpetuity, anything. When would they get the bond money back, or would they ever
they
get
would
it?
not give back.
So we would hold that money in perpetuity until something was done.
Or they would
build
build
it.
the cul-de-sac.
We would just go and build it probably.
Right.
Okay,
The
but
bond money.
in how long a period of time would you be talking?
I don't know, I'd have to talk to Tim.
Yeah, I don't know. They could put a sunset clause on it.
Tim said something when I was talking to him yesterday about a 2-year period, so.
Yeah, you answer my question.
Yeah, so if this doesn't get built, they'll probably hold that bond for a while and then decide to build it. Hey, let's ask this gentleman right here.
What?
On the bond,
Yeah.
say Mr. Beatty does not go forward with developing this lot, and you're holding the bond for this temporary cul-de-sac. How long would you hold that bond until it is constructed?
It's negotiable. There's a term on it. Before that, activated, and that's the
Before it started, there is a expiration term on the bond.
when it has to be built on.
So you'd like it to be a year, 2 years, or something would be specified,
Whatever you want. Yeah.
but it would be specified on the bond. Okay, that's good.
Okay, do you have any questions? Okay, I would entertain a motion.
I move we grant preliminary approval of short plat 2004-11, subject to the 7 findings of fact and the 6 conditions of approval.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, what is our number? 347?
348.
Here.
Sue, I started on your line there. I think it'll be all right.
All righty.
Yeah, as long as it's around you, where they want to put it, as long as it's staying outside.
Sorry.
Pardon me?
I didn't mean to laugh. He just said he's here to see if you have any extra money.
Now we're all laughing.
We are having, would you note that when we're in the workshop that a certain amount of frivolity by the planning department
Yes.
here?
Unnecessary frivolity. Thank you.
I want to see something, I want to see something a little more concrete.
Thank you.
Of course, what's going on, I don't know if anybody's been up by Sage Hill lately. But they're coming right along with that project, scheduled start.
Up by where now?
Tentatively scheduled. Sage Hill Truck Highway.
Okay. I go there once a month for sure, and sometimes more.
Tentatively scheduled to pave next week, for the first lift.
That's great.
It's
That's
on the
great.
winding part of it, so. That's gonna be a little hairy at first because, that will probably have flaggers all night because of the transitions
Yeah,
that we have to build from the existing to the new piece.
and there's a lot of traffic on that road right now.
So you may get some calls in that regard, but, like I said, we'll probably have flaggers all night for at least one night, if not two, to get us through that first part of it.
Is there
And it's gonna be
lights
real
or-
narrowed up. Yeah, there'll be lights when the flaggers are there.
When the flaggers
Work
are
lights.
out because shades.
So, yeah, there'll definitely be advance notice and all this stuff.
And the water situation is taken care of?
Yes, we have a ditch on the west side lined all the way down to a settling pond before it settles out before it dumps into the canal.
Yeah, that is a good project up in there.
It's definitely going to look totally different when we're all done. So when we get done, maybe we'll have to take another field trip up there.
Yeah, that'd be worthwhile to see that.
Making sure that we just happened by the resort
When
at
we go-
lunchtime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do about lunchtime.
When are we going to start blacktopping at night?
Next week
Okay, I'm going to be up there tomorrow night. I got a meeting up there.
is when we're looking at it. A lot of things could affect that day. You know, I
But
can't
next
give you an
week is
exact
what-
day. Next
yeah.
week, sometime.
What's Wednesday night? Is
Closing
that?
dinner is Wednesday night.
Okay, but what date is the Wednesday night?
That's the
13th.
That you would miss.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I can live with that.
No?
Yeah, I'll come back on the 14th.
You'll come back on the 14th.
What time? What else? I mean, I won't be leaving. I'll miss some other things because there won't.
She
I
doesn't
won't
have an
leave the-
agenda yet.
She doesn't?
She does not. All she knows is that there's a closing dinner.
Okay.
And that's usually a nice dinner.
Yeah, it's a real nice dinner, but I always skip those at NACO too. The dinner.
What's the date on that?
For AFTA,
October.
October 9th through the 14th.
That's when they're having the big candidate forum here too.
What big candidate forum?
That's good.
Isn't that period?
Are you making that up?
Yes, it
Because
is.
Sue, have you no
well,
trust?
it wouldn't surprise me if I was the last one to know. I can tell you that right now. Give me a minute to think on all this, okay? Thank you.
Is our park guy not in the house yet?
No, he's not.
How come? Poor guy.
They're still working on it, actually.
Well, we're
They'll be in
faster.
next week. They don't have all the carpet done yet. But he said
Well, I
he would
just
be in by the
noticed.
8th. But then that is an issue, and I'm going to extend his probation based on that.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
He needs to
Kinda
live in
have
it.
yeah, he needs to be there, out there.
And I made that clear to him early on, but it's not necessarily
Well,
it's
is
his
he
wife.
doing it or what? Is he?
His wife's doing most of the work, and she's meticulous. I
Is
mean,
there
once it's done, you go
It'll be
in there,
very
you're,
nice.
you're going to be amazed at what it looks like. But,
Is it costing us a lot of money?
more than what we told them that we would allow it to cost.
Oh.
They've gone over budget.
So do we still pay it?
It's been paid. So. It's part of their bills.
Okay. Might have to up his rent
May have to.
to cover it.
It'll be nice when it's done. I told them no more. We're not spending any more on it. We haven't done.
Well,
They
and,
spend some of their own money.
yeah, if they want to do something, they have to.
Well, part of the problem is, like they say, we have a really nice house that we're living in now.
But
Well, why did they take the job?
Well, I'm beginning to wonder that now. We'll find out.
be pretty nice for the next guy if he didn't.
Right.
Is there some hesitation about him moving in now?
I don't think so. Not him. I don't think it's him. If there is. But he said he would be in there by the 8th.
I want to
Eight
be
of
one of
the
those
time.
wives that rules the roost.
Well, yeah, I think, I'd be a liar if I didn't say that my household was that way. But
Mine's not. All right.
I don't know, is there any questions on the 5-month thing? I didn't really go through it. Kind of hit the high spots. Most of it. I don't know if you've heard we got a claim on one of our bridges out there that we've been working on.
Oh, I know what I keep forgetting to tell you. Did you hear the outcome of the trial?
Kind of,
Marshal?
sort of. Not totally.
What trial?
Well,
The
On
one
our
with
bus.
the
Corners,
bus?
the Sagemore and
Uh-huh.
Are we paying?
no, not zero. The jury did not award them a cent.
Right, because it was
Anybody.
frivolous to begin with.
that is amazing though when it goes to jury trial.
Yeah, because
Because of the sympathy.
But one of the things that was said that he was, he couldn't make his case that he lost a lot of companionship and stuff from his wife because he was smooching on his new wife.
Immediately.
Right there in the
Oh,
trial.
really?
He just, and of course, Neil Reddick was for the kids or something,
Mm-hmm.
was part of it. Anyway, I guess they didn't have a case.
Good.
So the whole thing was him and the kids. So it's
Yeah.
all
Well, the
everything.
kids, even the stepkids
Yeah.
sued. Even
But I
his
mean,
kids
wasn't
sued
it? But it
him.
was two different. Wasn't it two different lawsuits? Kind of him losing
Yeah.
his wife and them losing,
Uh-huh.
and so it's all settled.
Yeah, zero.
But
Can
you
they
think he
appeal it?
recovered rather quickly from the loss of his wife.
Can they appeal it?
Loss of companionship, right? Yeah.
Can they appeal it now? Or?
Oh, I suppose you can appeal.
They can appeal anything.
But,
You gotta have grounds
but
for it.
usually with the jury trial,
They won't.
they won't. Well, I guess they do appeal.
Yeah.
Trials, don't they?
Depends on how much money. I got a feeling that the attorney that took it on took it on a percentage basis, and they ain't gonna waste their time.
Yeah.
Oh,
It wasn't where the family probably went and
Anyway, it
paid them a great deal of money to go after it.
kind of irritates me that we haven't been notified quite.
yeah. We didn't know anything.
Well, I just happened to, like I said, talking to Steve, trying to arrange a meeting with him before our risk pool, and that's something I want to spend some time with you on. I want to get my records, but
I kind of.
he said that he was going to go observe the trial. And I said, what trial? And he told me. And I said, oh, that'd be nice to go to. And then I forgot about it.
Well, one of our guys, Gene, was one of the witnesses there, and he had to be there the whole time, and he kind of filled me in on what it. But he's not an attorney, so I don't know what. He said they found us partially at fault.
Yeah,
20%,
with
20,
some.
30%, or
Yeah,
for him being on the wrong side of the road.
Uh-huh.
Well, the law says we can't. We're performing maintenance. So that
But
could be
could you-
appealed. That could be
we-
appealed,
could
but
we-
it doesn't matter if there's no
There was zero.
No
damages.
Zero compensation. So, yeah, and I couldn't remember what they found us at fault. But when we do that sweeping, is there any way we could put caution road work ahead, or is that
Like road machinery ahead?
yeah?
You can. It's just that you're not there very long, so you're
Yeah.
going to spend all your time putting signs
You
out.
drive down the road 15 miles an hour on that sweeper, you know.
Yeah, I know. But I was just wondering about maybe at intersections or something, huh?
Like I said, it's just going to take us longer then, which is, if
Well,
that's what we have to
couldn't you
do,
just-
that's what we have to do.
Well, I don't know. I just,
But intersection to intersection, maybe that would be something. And, you know, you can't block it off because he goes too fast. But if you do
But
it
see,
from
it's not just putting one sign, you have to put all 4 legs, because you're doing all 4 legs of
Uh-huh.
sweeping.
yeah. Well,
And,
that's what I know, but I just thought, well, maybe.
Or you sweep one leg and then you move the sign. So basically you'd have to have a second person to move the signs around. And when we're sweeping down the road, typically they have a trailer vehicle as we're moving down the road.
No,
To try to
that's
slow
good.
people down.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was good news. The bad news is our experience made our rates go up some.
You wanted me to detail Irwin Trust, so I'm attempting to do that here. And I don't know how much you remember the history on this, but there's basically 2 projects that have been funded. The first one being, I'll hold this up, we got one plan,
Now, is all that in green our property?
but all this in green here is our property. These 3 lots.
Oh, but these other lots aren't.
No, these 2 over here are private. The first project was this park acquisition of these 2 lots right here that got funded at 50% reimbursement rate. We've taken that house out, obviously. All those costs to date that we've spent on here, including the review appraisal, all that good stuff, we've been reimbursed only $4,700 because they're not wanting to reimburse anything until this actual fee title transfer takes place.
Like the 141,725.
Right.
Now, do we subtract that 4,700 away from it?
Yes.
Okay.
That's where we get the 136,02477 is what we can get. But we're going to have to pay the 116 to pay it off first. And it's scheduled to be done by the end of this month, so obviously I'm going to have to ask for extension, but before I ask for an extension, I kind of want to know when that might take place.
Well, now, Tim, if we pay the 116,
You
we're
get
gonna-
136 back.
Yeah. And the only question that I have is how long will it take to get the 136 back? Because that'll affect where the 116 comes from.
Well, it takes, we got to record the deeds, and then I have to fill the bill out, and then it usually takes them 3 to 4 weeks to get our money back. So you're talking probably a couple months, realistically, a month and a half.
We're not looking at a year.
No, you'll have to put in a year easy.
By the end of this year. But,
Oh, yeah.
you know, if we're getting back 136 for 116, that makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
And every month you delay it, we're making payments to these guys, and the interest payments are not eligible for reimbursement. So you're going to save quite a bit in interest before the end of the year, too.
We just need to
We need to
identify
get
how
this
to get
done.
it done. And the quicker the better on this
Yes,
thing.
yes, yes.
So do I work with Fred to identify where that's coming
Yeah.
from?
Yeah.
But this is good information, because I just,
And then the voting access.
But let me ask you this, Tim. The time to get our money back doesn't start on the completion. It starts when we pay them off. Is that correct?
That starts, once we have the deed in hand, all that's been recorded, and we have that deed restriction we have to record with it. Once we have all that stuff, I can submit the bill and we should get payment back right away.
Okay.
Once that's all been recorded and we have proof that we actually own it, fee title, and that it's unencumbered and all that good stuff.
Well, the quicker we can do it, the better we can identify our fund.
The voting one, we've already acquired and gotten reimbursed for the property. Right now, we're in the process of doing the design just for the voting part of it. And we're well within budget on that one so far. portion that the boating stuff's willing to pay for, here's that lot that I was talking about that we acquired, is the launch itself, relocating the launch from right here, making it usable. This parking or staging area and the parking area for the boating, and any paths that would connect them all together. And our latest estimate on that, doing this is about $550,000, of which the building picks up 75% of it. That's all detailed in that letter too. Leaving a balance of approximately, if the city participates with it, $68,750 for each. Now, basically what I'm asking, because it's competitive this year, and I don't really want to ask the city for money unless we're going to put our piece in. So I guess what I'm asking, are we going to put in $68,000 and give it a $550,000 project? And where would that come from? I don't know. I don't have anything figured out as far as.
When do we have to make a decision?
This will be next year.
We don't have to make a decision on that.
Yeah, this will be budgeted for next year.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure somehow we could.
If we're successful, you'll be able to find it someplace, somehow, somewhere, hopefully. I mean, I hate to go through all this process and ask for the money, and then we get down to where you have to certify you have a match, and
Well,
we don't have it.
if we could get 412.
Because it's a lot of work, by the way.
Oh, yeah, takes a lot of time.
I do have a meeting with Spencer with the city on Monday to go over the project and see if they're
Well,
even interested.
yeah, make sure that they're
The city's
interested.
not on board. There's no sense going forward.
They have been on board.
They have been
though,
on board today.
because I think this is something that is going to benefit all of our.
The thing is,
Voters.
our grant that we have now was for the acquisition and putting the design together so that
And
we
we've
could go after
already
this funding.
done that and paid for that.
Well, it's in the budget to finish that out. If we get this funding and we complete this project, then we've done everything we said we would do, and we would be in good graces with IAC, and you can turn this over to the city and say, have at her, and be done with it. But until we finish it or get the city to finish it, any future requests at IAC, if we don't follow through on this, we wouldn't look very good.
Well, the
We're
city
pretty much
should,
done with it.
the city should jump through hoops to participate here.
Yeah, because they were in favor of that
Right.
to the beginning.
They-
They helped us acquire it, didn't they?
They're funding what we're doing now. They're
They
paying half
didn't
of
help
the
us acquire
match.
land, though.
They acquired this land with us. They
Uh-huh.
did not acquire this land.
That's
Yes,
correct.
right.
I think they will eventually utilize that as a part of the park system, but they didn't have us fund. All their efforts went between two bridges, and that was their emphasis.
But there's none of that feature that we can use from paths and trail, even though
When
we're going to.
and if we develop the rest of this, you can use the paths and trails because we'll be realigning that. And
There's no way we can come up with any of this match money from Pass and Trails.
You can do whatever you want, but I think it'd be a stretch, and it'd be hard to justify to an auditor, I would believe.
Could it be something we could look at, though?
I have been looking at it, and in my own heart, I can't do it. I can't justify it. I can't. It's not. Basically, none of this is part of the regional
Could we borrow it from there
trail.
until we find out
The
more?
match?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's money. There's that kind of money in there.
That
For
would
the
give us
match.
the option of going forward,
Yeah, and then the two, when we get the 136,000, we could.
I think what the rumors I've been hearing from our park board is that once we do this, they're wanting to go out for
A bond
park
levy?
levy to finish it up.
And,
do
and
that.
this is fine, if they go out to levy, that's fine. But that's them doing it, we're out of it.
And there's some movers and shakers on that. I mean, we
There
did
really
the other
are.
a park levy, for the.
Well, I think the way
restaurant.
we would approach that is, and we've already begun those discussions with Connell and Lisa and Lois in regards to what they would like to see in their communities too as part of that levy, and just increase the levy to give something to everybody.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So I think that this will probably be the last time we'll be asking for last time in the immediate future for additional matching funds. But those could be borrowed from that. They have to be paid back somehow. Whether it's from that levy or whatever. I don't know.
But we need to talk with Fred.
Well,
about
we're
where
just
money
thinking
come
of
from.
cash flow and current expense.
Right, I understand.
And that's why I even mentioned it about a possible borrowing from it.
Hi, Donna.
So I will pursue this.
Okay.
The chances of getting it aren't very good since there's about $7.5 million worth of requests, no $1.8 million.
Yeah, but you've been pretty successful, and then with as far as we've been going on this,
Yeah.
that might be
The key to it all is if we have our permits in hand, we're going to go over and make a presentation.
And are you going
we
to try
don't
to
have those yet.
are you going to try to get them done?
There's a good chance we will, but I can't think we're dealing with NIPS, so when they work on their own schedule.
No.
NIPS and the Corps. When they work on their own
What one doesn't
they
do,
work
the
on
other
their own
will.
schedule.
Yeah. Well, then it might have to wait till the next year, huh?
It may.
If that's the case.
Right.
You have anything else for us?
That's it.
Yeah.
Other than
Yes.
if you want me to talk about that claim we have, you'll
What-
hear about that later.
What is the claim?
We took some decks off some bridges.
What do you want to call them?
Well, they're different.
Is that right? And I think these are areas where we're having difficulty, and I think of this place out here in Warnett, these are areas that we need to look at something like that to stop and slow that traffic down.
I would not recommend, in fact, I would be adamantly opposed to putting speed humps on an arterial route, and that's what Burnett is. That's
Yes.
where the flow is supposed to go to and stay off the local stuff. And you don't typically do that on a route that you want people to use to get from A to B.
Well, now some of the areas, and I can't say on the arterial, Tim, some of the areas, and this is when it came out in that one of these booklets that comes out, on transportation, and they're using speed bumps. And the liability issue has to be no different there than it is here. And I see areas where we're having continual problems, and I go back to that one out of Basin City, which the arrest.
And I can show you a whole bunch of studies on those things and how they really work. Yeah, they slow down right at the hump. But usually, if somebody's in a hurry, they'll make up the difference in between.
But they were claiming, Tim, on these, and all I know is what I read. They were claiming that, and you perhaps get the same thing that I get. They were claiming that they work for them.
They work in the right condition. The right condition is when you have people cutting through access road, local roads, and start using them as arterial routes, as shortcuts because of congestion or whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
They work because once you put them on there, people stop using those routes as that because now it's faster to go on the arterial that's designed that is the road you want them to take. Now, what you have wrong with Burnett is it's too narrow for what it's functioning as. I think we need to go and widen that.
But, and what you say makes a good argument and a good point. But I go back to that one out of Basin City, and that certainly wasn't a main arterial. You know that?
No, that's an access road.
It's an access road, and I think there's spots because there are other places.
And we were willing to try it there, or we were going to try it there, but they caught the guy that was. I mean, we really
And we
thought that
didn't
was
put them
one.
up. That's what Carly said. We didn't put them up. The speed bumps. We
You
were
had
going
on
to.
South Landing for a while. Are they still there? They worked, I thought.
Oh, those were just the rumble strips.
Is that what they call those?
Those are rumble strips.
Those are great.
Those
Are they
are
still there?
to warn you that they're
Yeah.
still there.
But
There's just a stop
sign.
condition.
But that trailer that's right there just. Well, I guess he hasn't complained lately.
Rumble strips.
We had to move
work
them.
all right.
We had to move them further back.
I love those on South Landing because I almost went through that myself one time. It was a gray, cloudy day. I had.
The roads are straight. The
Scary.
terrain's the same.
Yeah.
They have rumble strips on the side, or whatever you call them, on the side of
Oh,
the
the
freeway.
wake, yeah.
And I
Those
think
are nice.
both on the center and on the side, and I think those are good.
Oh, yes.
They really help.
But anyway, I think the four-way stop there, we're gonna.
And I did check into that. The reason they're not up yet is we did not have any, when you put them up, you gotta put those four-way stop placards under it. We didn't have, you had to order those.
Okay.
How long will that
And
take?
I think they'll have them in this week.
Where Alan one that you guys be putting up 4-way stop?
44.
44, yeah.
Oh, that's a busy, I go down there all the time.
Maybe you're the ones we get to complain.
Yeah,
Are you
right.
speeding?
Are you the one?
It must be just me.
That's her story, and she's sticking to it.
Yeah.
I've given up speeding after I turn 50. It's just not worth it.
It's not any place you want to go that fast.
Well, you have my sympathy when you get that old.
I know.
Okay, I move for approval of county road fund payroll in the amount of $69,532.65, and motor vehicle fund payroll in the amount of $8,723.56.
Is there a second?
Could you explain that motion?
It's an excellent one. I'll have the.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Thanks, Tim.
Aye.
Aye.
This just has to do with that pen note bill we got, that said we owed them $1,000 by August something. We actually owed them less than $141. And so they've written that letter telling us that.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. We sent them $1,000. And the reason there is a discrepancy usually from billing to billing is because of employees coming off, employees going on, changes to medical. And it's always going to be off. And so anyway, it's actually what we owe them is $141. And they said, oh, well, you can just ignore that letter. And I said, no, I want something from you in writing saying we can ignore that letter. Mm-hmm. So, in any case, I wanted you to know that.
All right.
Our new room got installed.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it's so nice.
I just saw it this morning.
Some candidate packet information, Dave, and I said, you gotta see this.
It's really nice.
Yep, because we'll have a place now to put the ballots, process the ballots, secure the ballots, everything, So it's just like the other room, only it's portable. When we move, we can take all of it with us. But they got it all.
It's bigger, isn't it?
It's wider.
Two questions.
It's wider.
Too.
You're pointing. I will.
We got that in. The other thing I wanted to let you know is we've been trying to get estimates for the handicapped accessible polling places, which we only have 2 we have to deal with. Masonic Hall and the Grange. And believe it or not, both those estimates came in close to $30,000.
Each? Oh, my goodness.
I know.
But this funding
State money. It's federal money, actually.
Yeah, federal money will pay for it.
But I had heart failure. I was thinking little asphalt, little concrete, some electric door openers, but $30,000 for each one. And I'm going to work on really getting it down because I don't want to take any more money from the feds than I have to, because that money has to go to the whole state for handicapped accessibility. So I'm going to work on, instead of trying to do what we maybe would, I wanted to get the ramp to where the code requires that you have 1 inch per raise per foot. But the 1 inch per raise per foot is the ramp that we have at the courthouse now. Well, if you're a handicapped person and you don't have a motorized wheelchair, that is a very hard ramp to maneuver. So I wanted it to be a 1/2 inch ramp instead of a 1 inch ramp. And so I'm going to see how much difference that would be in cost. And I had wanted a 1/2 inch. Now I might go to a 1 inch if it's cheaper. Because a 1/2 inch ramp means a longer ramp. But my whole thing is we're all getting older, and I want us to have things as easy, and we're in a position now to do that.
Speak for yourself.
I'm thinking Arizona going up that And so I'm wanting to get it as handicap accessible as possible, and that means electric door openers and everything that goes with that. So it all adds up. So we're, like I said, I thought there was a real push for us to hurry up and get our estimates in. I've got my estimates, and I would use them as estimates because I know they're going to be lower than that, but we haven't got any criteria yet for how to go about submitting it to the state for reimbursement. So we're kind of dead in the water right now, and until I get that, I can't really proceed because I can't go ahead and authorize any work until we got the money in place. So that's what.
Well, have you talked to Sam's office about it?
Yeah, I have. I emailed them again yesterday asking what's going on and haven't heard back. But they could be off. John Pearson retired.
I know. But he's coming back.
He is?
Yeah,
I
on
didn't
the
know
contract.
that. Oh,
Yeah, that's
great.
what Cy said.
Oh, I
He's
didn't know that.
going to spend a week in San Juan and stay with Cy and his wife. He and his wife. And they're going to go boating, and then he's going to be by contract.
I'm so glad.
I said, oh my word, with this mess we're going to have this year, and
Well,
he said, oh, he's coming
John
back.
Pearson said to me, John's been in the election Secretary of State's office for over 30 years.
He
And he's a
knows some law.
down-to-earth, common sense, he's an attorney, common sense guy, and has been a great asset to the Auditors Association and to counties as a whole because he truly tries to work with us and the problems we have as counties. And he said to us, we had to go to a class in June for the new HAVA federal requirements. And he said, he told us at Spokane, he said, girls, guys, gentlemen, I've never been afraid before, but I'm afraid this year. And so...
Why does he say that, Jonah? What is he?
Oh, Frank, the laws are, the things they're making us do, and it's national. I'm telling you, and when I say this, I hope I'm wrong, and I really don't exaggerate. People that know me know I don't exaggerate. If you guys thought Florida was a mess 4 years ago, now we're going to have 50 states operating from that perspective. And because a lot of them didn't have provisional ballots, that's the easy part. The big issue in Florida, if you remember, one of the big issues was that they disenfranchised voters, they turned people away.
Yeah.
That's going to be taken care of
Just
by
Democrats.
I don't know. Florida's a big Republican. Anyway, just what's now happened, though, is with the federal requirement that you have to show ID when you register to vote. And failure to do so at the polls on Election Day, if you have not shown the registrar's office that you've got a driver's license on your registration, this is anything after 2003. If you registered before that, it isn't an issue. But anybody who's registered after 2003, if they don't have ID, Washington driver's license number or an ID number on their registration card, they will not be allowed to vote.
On the registration card, though.
Yes, it prints on the poll book.
Yeah.
So the absence of that to appear in the poll book right away means I need to see, Mr. Brock, your last PUD bill or your last water bill, your last phone bill. I need something with your address on it. Do you know what that's going to mean? People are going to be upset. And they're not going to be allowed to vote a regular ballot. We're going to give them a provisional ballot. Okay? And if we can show that they are, that we can get a copy of a driver's license at that point, or we can get a bill, that's going to go on in 39 counties in this state.
Then you're going to be upset because look at all the work you have.
That's going to be terrible.
Oh, it's going to create provisional ballots. And Neva, you know how much work they are. It's going to maybe quadruple that number, and we have a hard. And the requirements for provisional ballots, we've always done what the federal law has done, but not to that degree. It's much easier when you're dealing with 200 provisional ballots versus 1,000 provisional ballots that you have to do all this research on. You have to make contact. There's no excuse. You've got to contact that voter. And it's just going to be a nightmare.
But some of them you won't be able to contact them because they don't have phones.
What we'll have is we'll bring it to the canvassing board, and we'll show that we made this attempt through mail, we made this attempt through phone. It's got to be documented.
Now, some of these races are going to be forever.
Close.
Well, they're going to be forever deciding them.
It's going to be horrible, Frank.
Oh, my.
And so...
tell me something. Did I read it wrong? Is Bill Grant in the 9th district?
No.
Instead of the 16th?
You know, Neva, I've not looked at Walla Walla
That's what it was in the newspaper today.
Maybe it was a typo.
I think they must have made a typo. I
And
don't
there's
think
nobody
they can't do that.
Well, there's nobody in the second position in the 16th representative district. It's blank.
Now who's that?
And the reason I say that is because in the 9th district, you got Haley running.
He's the only one on his.
So far, and then Cox are the representatives there. I mean, there are two already there, And Sheehan is running
You see,
for...
they don't file with us because
No, I
it's
know.
Moulton County.
But
that must be wrong, Eva.
well, I don't know. It was
We
in
have
the
I'll have to
newspaper
look.
today.
I don't know where he lives in Walla Walla.
I don't either.
I think Bill lives in town.
Does he?
Yeah. He doesn't live on the farm.
Well, we made some other mistakes in that. They
We had another
corrected
filing
some.
today for PUD. Dog Patton filed today for PUD.
Which position?
The one where they're all running in.
Dale Latham's
Latham's.
spot. Everybody, after Dale Latham's comments...
Well, I was surprised Diane Dolan, for goodness sake.
I don't know her.
Oh, she's been a state examiner. She worked for PUD. She worked for City Hall, Pasco City Hall, as an examiner. She came out of the state agency, state auditor's office, and then got to these other positions and retired, I think, from PUD, comptroller. So that didn't surprise me. She's single, Neva.
The only thing that's interesting, the thing that will be interesting about that race is how many votes Dale Latham will get.
None. Maybe
Somebody
one.
called. I had a phone call this morning for someone coming in and licensing, and they said, "You don't think he is an incumbent?" I said, "He's not an incumbent, but a lot of people may think that."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "He's not an incumbent," and I said, "I really don't think, he has a chance. I don't." But stranger things have happened. He got reelected before.
Oh, yeah.
He got
And he
elected.
got elected to the Port of Pasco.
So, hi, Steve. How are you?
Hi, Steve.
We're meeting with the Department of Justice next week.
Sometime.
Sometime. We
She
don't
hasn't
know
got
when.
back to us yet.
Yeah. And they didn't want to meet with, they didn't understand the need for the auditor's office, the elections department, to want their attorney present. And I said, hell no, we're not meeting with that. And they have not been nice. They're not a nice group of people, so next week we'll be talking. And I'm letting Steve do all the talking.
They called and said, "We're going to be there in 2 days. Can you meet with us in Zona?" And I said, "Excuse me? Well, that's the only week I have available next week." I said, "Well, you know what? I'm gone next week," which was last week. So they were not very pleasant, basically. You have to drop
They're
it.
not.
Don't you have another deputy?
They're
He
not.
said, "No, that position is empty. It's me or nothing." "Well, can't you send one of the other deputies?" "No, I can't."
I didn't even know that took place, Steve.
So
You see, they didn't.
my start-off conversation with this woman was not pleasant.
They're not. They're pit bulls. They have two groups.
Obviously, they have more resources than we do.
Don't we have them outlawed in Franklin County?
I wish. They have one group that is their what would you call it? Their PR people. Oh, we're not going to be tough on you. We're not going to do this.
I want you to see those before
We're going to be really nice. Blah blah blah. Then they send the real people out, and I'm afraid the PR people aren't coming. Oh my gosh!
I just want you to be in the drawing. So
Steve might have. I
What
need
kind of
to.
dogs?
Did you bring any of the Rivers stuff?
No, but I have my agenda to talk about.
Okay, I'll go in my office and get that.
Oh, they are darling.
Because I don't think you saw our claims and that
You got
sort
a
of thing.
I did take a copy of it and looked at it. I didn't look at that
Aren't they
closely.
cute?
We're halfway through.
You've got 2 dogs.
I know, and that somebody's trying to give me a cat today too, and I've already got 2 cats.
well, she doesn't have.
Yep, the 5th sometime.
We're
You'll be there too?
Madam Chair, we're ahead just a little bit. Can we have about a 5-minute break
Oh,
here?
sure. And I'll go get my papers. You're going to talk about the Marshall case a little bit for us? Well, our list is getting shorter, Steve.
No, this is just the ones that come in the last week.
Oh.
These are all new ones I'd like to kind of brief you on. In executive session, if you might.
For how long?
5 minutes. Section, unless you have
Okay.
questions. Okay, the Marshall claim, the trial was finished 2 weeks ago on Friday. The jury took it. I went to the jury Friday morning. They came back in the middle afternoon. They did find our driver, Gene, at fault. No, excuse me, negligent, but not at fault. In other words, what he did was wrong by parking on the other side of the road. That was specifically, I don't know if he told you that or not.
Yeah, he
but
did say that.
Essentially that was the argument our attorney did make, to conceded that argument, that he should have parked on the other side of the road, but that didn't cause the accident. And that's what the jury found. The cause of the accident is because Mr. Marshall ran the stop sign and nothing else. He could have saw the stop sign if he looked. In fact, he told the officers originally he just wasn't paying attention. It had nothing to do with what do you call it, broom? Beam. So it's a very good win. Spent a lot of money on defense attorneys, but not a lot. We only had one attorney, not a lot of help. Rich, that's the way Rich operates. Usually the attorneys bring their paralegals to the trial. But he did an excellent job, as he's done for us over the years. He really does a good trial job on a case like that. Dale Reddick was an opponent. I said, worthy opponent to beat Dale in a case like that. And
Wasn't he having quite a bit of health problems?
Dale?
Deal. Okay, no.
No, not that I know of. But it was a good win for us.
Yes.
I will tell you that Rich had nothing but nice things to say about Gene. Gene did a wonderful job. He was there, and his wife was there most of the trial, and his testimony.
I think that was his daughter.
His daughter, okay, was there, and so
He was nervous.
He did an excellent job. Rich wanted to compliment both. Wanted me to pass that on to you and to Tim that he did a fine job, and so he should take some credit for it.
Who was that?
Gene Gonzalez.
Oh, Gonzalez.
The driver of the broom. It was nice for him to be there too. I mean, I don't know if you paid him to be there, or not, but it was important for him to be there.
He's retired now, hasn't he?
No.
And he's not the one that retired.
But I think it was a good experience for him too.
He's the one that, after it happened, he took several days off.
Pretty upset. I think that helps
pretty
him.
upset by it.
Helps him knowing that he wasn't at fault. I mean, that's
Yeah. Well, the thing about that was, the person was killed and that school, so it would have been very nerve-wracking.
It was one of those things where, something like that happens when it seems like it's slow motion and you're helpless. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
You see it starting to happen and you want something to happen.
Yeah.
And then,
That is good.
So that was very good, Tim. Compliment to pass that on.
Good.
Last thing with Tim's here, we are meeting next week sometime. With the city of Pasco on the Chihuahua Park issue, with Tim, Captain Roski, their attorney, and Stan Stribel, to talk about the issues with alcohol and permitting and those sort of things in the park. So
Okay,
we'll report back to you on that, where we're at on that. The rest of the stuff you can stay for, Tim, but it's not. In other words, it's landfill stuff. It's all it's all your work. So, Darren, as I told you, has agreed to do the landfill case continued because he's worked it so far up. It was supposed to go to arbitration next Monday. It has been continued. It came in a couple days ago. I asked him to write a letter so I could pass it on to you. What's going on with it? It got continued out to October, at which time the landfill arbitration is supposed to be scheduled. So he is a little concerned about continuing to work the case. I told him it's up to him. I would like to encourage him to stay on through October. He probably will. His problem is, as long as he's a special deputy for me, he can't take any cases in Franklin County courts.
No.
It's a revenue issue for him. You can't defend anybody on cases I file in any of my courts, juvenile district or adult, because he's a special deputy. So that eliminates one of his abilities to make income. And when it was short term, he wasn't concerned about it. He said he'd talk about it, but he thought he'd stay on it. So that's kind of where we're at in landfill. There's nothing really new. Like, he will write up what's going on, why it got moved, and the updates, because I really don't know, and ask him to put it in writing. I'll deliver it to you, let you and Tim know what's going on. On the chief civil hiring position, I had re-advertised in the Seattle Times and the Spokesman Review. I got 2 more applications, one of which looks like at least one of them would be a good interview. Then I got your letter about hiring freeze. So I don't know what to do at this stage about the hiring process. I actually had the one person call me yesterday again and ask when I set up interviews for, and I said, well, I need to ask you, we continue with the interview process?
What are we going to do about that?
I think we got to be equitable across the board on this. We've got other departments. Yesterday, Mike came in Monday. I think, and I know the need, but I don't think we can approve one in one department and not approve it in the other, because they all have a need, and we need a civil attorney here. But I think we have to look at it from that standpoint.
Well, the problem I have is recruiting. I mean, it really is. I'm basically trying to get somebody to move to the Tri-Cities at this point, and I'm going to have to restart that whole process again, just to let you know. And it cost me $1,000 to do those 2 advertisements, between $800,000. It's like $600 at the Seattle Times and $300 at the Spokesman to do those.
And I don't question.
And I was disappointed, frankly, with the response so far, both of them. But I'm really at the point of trying to recruit or look at a reorganization. That's the only other thing I can do, and hire a new, because I can always hire a new attorney to do something else, and I don't know whether that would work or not, but I can't get an experienced civil deputy right now. That's the bottom line. So, and if you want me to freeze it, and can I give an idea, they're going to ask me how long, because these people are making career choices right now, how long can I get back to them?
Well, we're going to work on the budget today.
Well, look, not that we're going to come up with a solution today, but we're going to work on the budget today.
I'm just trying to be honest with these people and tell them,
Yes.
you told me a freeze, is it going to be for the next month, or do you know that? Or
We don't know.
these people are asking me that question. And I don't have an answer for them.
We've got to wait to see where we're headed in our budget, Steve. We can sit here and say, yeah, we're going to do it, and the last person hired is the first person to go. And then they're looking at unemployment. We don't want to do that.
I won't move somebody either. I'll be honest, they'll not take the job.
Yeah.
I'm not. I've got to work with these people. So, okay, that answers that question. I'll be back at noon. We're talking about the budget some more, so maybe get some answers on the risk pool landfill. Risk pool. Did you want to talk about?
Well,
we had a board meeting last week.
Our amount, I don't understand this. Well, anyway, our amount has gone up. That we
Assessed.
because our experience was bad.
Right.
And so we were assessed a higher percentage. I mean, we used to be one of the very best counties in the state, and now our experience has gone
It only takes a couple
downward.
of cases to change that whole thing.
Right.
But, the good news is Mike Croak got reinsurance for only a 3.3% increase, which is almost unheard of. And
So it's about a 6% increase is what I remember. Is that how much it is?
no, it says 3.3.
No, I mean the overall premium.
Yeah, ours is a
Right.
6% increase.
Right.
So that's better than what we figured on. I think we figured on 10%. No, it's 8.6% increase.
I couldn't remember. It was higher than some of them. Some of them went down. Some of the counties went down. Ours went up significantly. Well, for us, that's a significant increase because of our
So,
sales.
and they're going to give us until August 31st, I think, if we want to change our deductible. And I think you're both of the opinion you don't want to change it.
I don't think we can afford to. We kind of.
I think not the way things are coming in with the increased activity. I wouldn't advise it.
So, anyway.
We looked at doing that last year, and I'm glad we didn't go any harder than we did on it.
Of course, the savings, we haven't paid our deductible, but for this one claim.
Yeah.
But actually, our road claims have really been good. It's that land acquisition, or the one that we had to pay for, and
Claim.
that was a big claim. And then we've had some breach of contract. I didn't know we had a $72,000. What did we pay? Who did we pay $72,000 to?
What's the land acquisition?
The house that the line fell out.
That
Landslide out
fell
in
down.
Greenville.
Yeah,
That was supposedly sliding. They're still living in it.
But that's a.
But we maybe could check. We could check with. Oh yeah, but it's
The
still
money
on
was
our
to,
list.
the money was to shore it up.
We did vote down another assessment, that John wanted for our reserve. That, and it would have cost us $22,000 our portion, but that was voted down because we've got new attorneys for that one case, the Thurston County case, and he feels 99% sure that he'll get money. And so we won't have any special assessment because that'll make us whole again when we get our money from the insurance company we're suing. And I guess that's all I have to. They're reorganizing the risk pool a little bit. They're going to have a third-party administrator come in temporarily to give an assessment of how the risk pool is functioning. And of course, Alicia resigned or retired.
The claims manager for the pool. That's one of
And
the three
she was so good.
I liked her.
We hated to see her go, but anyway. I guess that's it, huh?
That's all.
Just need one other item here that we're going to have to come up with a policy on our low-income housing.
Okay.
We have money, and we've got policies that were sent to us by Bobby Luttrell. She picked up from other counties that do have a policy, and we can plagiarize some of those. And I think, or at least one of those, I read the one from Clark County. The others I have looked at. But it looks to me like the one from Clark County, if you go through and change things that are applicable to us, would be the most logical one to look at. Have you ladies had a chance to look at that?
I just glanced at it.
Well, if you want to have somebody write it up, I'll look it over.
The policy.
I won't have time to draft it. There's nobody to draft it.
The policy is drawn, Steve.
Yeah.
All you have to do is just look it over and.
Yeah, have somebody just change the names or whatever and put it in draft form, and I'll be happy to look at it.
Yeah, it just has to change the things that Franklin County and Clark County and go through like that.
Yeah.
Good, we'll do that and see if it gets up to you.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all I have, I think.
Do you have anything?
I don't have anything.
Anything else? Do you have anything?
Who's Jim Johnson for Justice? Do you know who he is?
He's a Supreme Court justice.
I know, but
Or can with us. Workload. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled in the last month that our sentencing scheme in Washington State is unconstitutional in that any cases that got exceptional sentences, a jury needed to determine that, not a judge. Our system is set for judges to give exceptional sentences, which we disagree with, obviously. Well, we have a number of individuals, very high-profile individuals that are in prison serving long terms for exceptional sentences. We're already getting motions on many of those cases. We'll have to bring a lot of them back and retry the sentencing phase in front of juries.
You want just the sentencing phase, so.
That's our position. The defense is saying we're going to bring back and sentence them within the standard range. So we'll have to fight that. So despite everything else that's going on, that issue is out there.
What are you looking at expense on that?
I don't know. It's kind of what's just juries. It's very time consuming for my staff.
Oh boy.
Like we always talked about last week, I always think these cases are done and gone when they're off to prison for several years. Well, they all come back, and you'll be reading about them in the papers shortly. I won't name the cases because some of the victim's family don't know about it yet, so I want to talk to them about it. But that's huge, and I can say it's about anywhere from 3 to 7 cases of high-profile individuals that have exceptional sentences. The driving while license suspended third cases, I'm sure that the district court's providing an update on that. That's a huge impact both in our office and district court.
Jerry said that it's going to.
Run that by me again.
The driving while suspended third case that the Washington Supreme Court ruled on about Redmond versus Moore about 6 weeks ago. They basically found that driving while anybody who didn't pay a ticket and got their license suspended.
Oh yeah.
Not paying the ticket. That's unconstitutional because they didn't get a hearing before Department of Licensing.
And you've got to go back through all of them.
Well, we dismissed a lot of them. We quashed a lot of warrants.
So that way,
we've got about a third of the probation workload cut off because that's what they were being supervised for. Basically, said it's not a crime anymore. That was a huge volume of cases in district court,
and it was a huge
income. Huge revenue because what happens is these people are the people that don't pay their fines. I mean, they get a parking ticket, they get a speeding ticket, they don't do it, they get their license suspended. To get their license back, they got to go pay the ticket. Well, now they don't care if they don't get the license because it's not a crime. They can drive out there without a license and not pay the ticket. So it's really a problem. There's a petition for rehearing in front of that Supreme Court on that. That's a big impact. District court, not workload. We had quite a bit of work for a couple of days.
What
there.
judge made that ruling?
Our Washington Supreme Court.
They did.
Supreme Court. Justice Sanders was in the middle of that. It was Justice Sanders' decision again.
Oh.
who's up for election again this year. I'll point that out.
They made a good decision on redistricting, however.
And the third case, and I'll be darned if I can remember that because it's just overwhelming where we're at right now, is we're still dealing with the Andrus case, which is several years old now. That's the case that ruled the felony murder rule was not felony murder in the Washington state of Washington. We have 3 people in prison under that charge that if they find it's retroactive. Now, the decision on whether it goes back from that date is still before the Supreme Court because they didn't say that in the original opinion. They didn't make it clear. We're hopeful that they'll say it's not retroactive because we have a number of those cases. That would add another 3 or 4 murder cases that we have to bring back and try from the beginning.
You'd have to retry those again.
Retry those completely.
And then try to get the witnesses.
And they're from 1995. So, when I talk about workload, that's what we're dealing with right now. With those 3 opinions, we're hard enough keeping up with what's going on in our community, and for the Supreme Court to do that to us, that's really what we're struggling with. I think we'd be all right, but for those 3 cases, and we're working on that. That's hard to deal with if they all come down at the same time too. And we're crossing it. Plus Chris Orange. That's the other one. That's still before the Supreme Court. And they're going to rule that because our courtroom wasn't big enough, we couldn't put everybody in the courtroom. That maybe we have to retry that case. And that case has been.
You have to rent a gymnasium, the whole court.
That's kind of what Judge Tabor told me. Yeah, I don't know. Well, so that's kind of. We'll cross our fingers. We'll win some of those things, so we won't have the additional work on those. But at least we'll have to bring some individuals back for resentencing under the exceptional sentence cases. We know that for sure.
The resentencing, I sure don't agree with the process, but that's.
I don't agree with any of it, but I have to live with it.
That's all you can do.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to me.
All right.
That's interesting, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
Yep.
What's that?
How do we merit television?
Oh, I came to listen to the news on track.
Oh. And we do have a rule here. We've always had a 30-foot rule that we required television to be that far away. I think you may be violating that.
Well, I'm just trying to get your pearly whites. That's angle.
Good answer.
No, my name is Emily, and I'm new to KVU. So actually, if there is anything that I'm doing that is bothersome to me, please do let me know so I can.
That's just kids.
Learn the ropes.
Well, now just a minute.
Besides that, you have a good sense of humor.
And if any of the pictures would show me fat and bald and old, those have to go.
Yeah, we kind of think you should have a makeup person come with you for us.
Yes.
Oh, I need one as well. Yes. Work on that.
Did Fred want to be in here, Mary? I think he did.
Good morning, Ray.
Good morning.
And I just like the support that I get here on my rules that I established.
I know. I'm sorry.
We feel bad.
Because I'm with you. I don't want to. I want to hide.
I prefer that they stay 60 feet away.
Well, here he is.
Fred.
Good morning, Mr. Bowen.
Good morning. Okay, we typically go through our event update. Last Tuesday, we had a Department of Transportation meeting of 25 people. Also, we had a Department of Health meeting.
Now, what was that? 108? Was that?
108 people came in for a state meeting, Department of Health meeting.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And then on Wednesday, we had a CAPA meeting or discussed contracts with them. And then Tuesday through Saturday, we had the Bronze Classic Horse Show, which multiple day event. And then on Thursday, we had the Washington State Housing meeting. On Friday, we had the USDA listening session as it pertained to the cattle issue. And then on Saturday, we had a dance.
What was the opinion on the number on that? Satisfactory on that 2344?
Yeah, it exceeded our expectations.
Good.
We had anticipated a revenue stream of about 18,000, and I believe we took in, we anticipated 16 and we took in 18. And we're going through right now looking at our expenditure side.
That was a man who was concerned about its crowd because you'd had a dance just a couple of weeks before, wasn't it? Yeah.
Right.
Really.
With that crowd, we had decent numbers. They were fine. He was concerned because in Portland, Oregon, he did about 2,500 the night before, and then us, and then he was going into Seattle, and he understood that there were going to be INS issues in Seattle, so he was pretty much on edge.
But you know,
that was
summertime numbers, that looks pretty good, really.
That was a good. It was a good event.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's difficult for us to project what's going to happen because if you recall the previous event, we weren't anticipating much of a crowd, and then we got slammed. We got 4,000, and you just gear up for the smaller crowd. The promoter himself was saying a smaller crowd, and then in this situation, we geared up for this appropriately. But they didn't eat and drink a whole lot. They came in and it was more of a family kind of an atmosphere. But we did hit our revenue numbers for the event. This weekend, we've got Pasco High School Social and Reunion coming up Friday and Saturday. We've got a quinceañera over in the Expo Hall on Saturday night, which would be, we could hit 400 plus, maybe even 500 people for that quinceañera.
Now, is the Pasco High social and reunion, is that going to be in the hotel?
Yes.
Okay.
On
in the big
social will be in our atrium.
Okay.
And it'll spill outside if they so choose to go out off that little patio in the back. And then on Saturday night it'll be in the AmeriSuite. Then we have the August events that we've got booked at this point, which is more meetings, a dance on the 14th, and start getting into teacher education and that sort of thing later in the month.
What is the Scott Martin dinner?
It's a dinner. It's a rehearsal dinner, a wedding rehearsal dinner.
Okay.
That we'll be doing over there. So that's pretty much the rundown of the events that we have.
Now, on August 14th, the Hispanic dance, did they figure how many they're going to have for that, or do they have an estimate?
They've got an estimate, but we're right in line with where we are. We've been exceeding our revenue on these pretty consistently here this spring.
That's great.
So,
that's great.
As I mentioned, this is where we'll start catching up some things.
Was that dog bite from the bronze?
The dog bite took place with the Bronze Classic. That's right, and that's the last equestrian event we really have of the year as far as a horse show and that sort of thing. So I think we'll start the next season off with all the event producers understanding and communicating with their people that no dogs. They just can't have it.
Oh.
They just can't have it.
Did she get bit hurt pretty bad?
No.
Oh. Who was Gail? I mean, was that one of our part-time helpers, or?
No, that was a person. That was
participant?
Participant of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Something else about that. Oh, that event it had a little bit a drop in participation.
Is that the one that showed the little 9-year-old girl or young girl?
It was as far as quarter horses shows go, it was one of the smaller ones. We had quite a few extra stalls that were available, so we have been dropping down a bit. And we had that conversion from the over the weekend. I think it was the circus to this. So, or no, it was the dance. So we went from a dance to this horse show.
Ray, how can we enforce that dog thing?
Well, we're going to have people out there.
But I mean, if somebody brings in a dog and they're not supposed to have a dog there, and I saw quite a few dogs out there, how do we deal with it?
We will have staffing out there. They'll be looking specifically for that in uniform, and we'll be discussing that with our the event promoters or producers.
But if they bring a dog, what I'm saying is,
well, we'll just say that the dog isn't allowed. We'll give them the names and phone numbers of some local kennels.
Yeah, okay. That's the only way you can handle it.
That's the only way we can.
Yeah.
Is you do everything you can on the front side and communicate with them ahead of time, and then have somebody there that when inevitably somebody doesn't hear it or listen or doesn't pay attention or whatever, brings their animal in, we'll have to deal with it. This is part of doing the business.
I'll just make a real quick comment on that. Bush with the quarter horse show next year, Nick Levy, they're going to enforce it, and they're going to collect $25 every time there's a dog inside the grounds.
But we still got the dog.
No, still have the dog,
Still
no.
have the dog.
No, we cannot have the dogs.
They'll make a little money, and then we'll have to kick them out. I mean, we're going to have to kick them out
We
anyway.
will not
So.
be able to have the dogs on. I think that's bottom line. It's a liability.
So that'll just be a penalty. They'll
That'll
say,
be a penalty.
additionally, you're paying a penalty to us also.
Yeah, they'll be paying a
Themselves.
penalty,
Mhm.
and so what that's gonna do is that person's not gonna bring that dog on the ground. They're gonna leave it at their trailer at home.
All right, and then that was pretty much the run on that, on the events. We're hearing in the newspaper about some new overtime regulations through labor and industry. And I know we don't feel that, based on what we're reading in the newspapers, we think we're going to be okay with any impact on us. But if there is any change to the county, we'd like to get some information on that. We can talk to Fred about
Yeah,
that.
I haven't heard any of it.
Yeah, if there is going to be. But there's
What type of,
Well, I think, isn't it regarding non-union people?
This is the first I've heard of it.
I read it in the paper, but I didn't.
this is kind of a hard business to deal with that, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's why if there is something that I need to be aware of, if there is a change, I'd like to get the information other than through the
Maybe
newspaper.
Tiffany
If there
will
is,
get
and
it.
maybe there's not. Maybe
Yeah.
there's not. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention that we may be
We
operating
better
under
check,
some
have
new regulations.
Tiffany check that out. But I read something in the newspaper.
Number 3 on the agenda is budget revisions. As you know, we've been working on that, and we're on line to getting that done here very, very shortly, and I think we'll be where we need to be. The ATM machine is being installed this morning, and that should be up and running. Another addition for our clients. And then just a couple other things I thought of as I was coming over here. Dr. Yucca's immunization issue.
Yeah, he's
We
mentioned
met
that.
with him, and I think we're okay.
No, we're looking at public service on that, are we not?
Yes.
Yeah. So there is no cost.
There is no cost for your request. And then the 4th, I had some further discussions regarding the 4th celebration with the food concessionaire people. And the more I'm talking to these people, the more positive I am about that event.
You had the opportunity to come up with that number regarding the rental of the facilities to the county and the city.
At this point, Fred, I haven't.
I'm going to meet with Gary this afternoon at 4, between 4 and 5, and we're going to talk about the possibly coming together for this event. So,
I can have that for you.
We need a budget so we can find out how serious the city is in their interest on this thing.
well, it seemed to me like the preliminary budget that you have is like $498,000.
Well, that
Do you remember what it was?
that was based on what the Ben Franklin had and what it might work out to be over here. But I haven't been focusing on that number here in the last couple of weeks.
Now, any
Because
kind
we're
of-
going to scale that back.
Any kind of prizes, if there are such at this first one, we'd have to pay for ourselves, wouldn't we? Or
Well,
get
if-
somebody to donate them.
If there were
I
to
mean,
be prizes.
ribbons and things like that, if it got that far the first year.
That would be part of that whole budget situation.
Well, typically the state Department of Ag, I think they go anywhere from 25 to.
But-
I think the highest is 40,000, depending on the number of exhibits that they have. So
I thought you had to have it for like 3 years before they.
2.
Oh, 2.
But there has to be a revenue stream associated with it. So
Oh, yeah.
we'll take care of what you're speaking of. So.
Right. And then finally, got a notice from the senior citizens. That went out. The senior
What?
citizens picnic.
They're not going to have it?
No. The notice went out.
Oh, the
to
notice
public
went out. Oh.
To let people know that they're going to do it.
All
So-
right. I was looking forward to that.
And that is set up. Some of that. And try
Super.
to get back on schedule for you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Good enough. Thank you.
Great.
And we'll have those budget figures probably later, this, next week.
Well, I'm sure I should be finished with it probably tomorrow.
Oh.
Waiting for for some maintenance budgets.
Okay.
Striping the lines,
That's
gluing
good.
the roof.
I wanted to just make one comment to our news person here that good editing is a secret of being a good reporter.
I'm learning this.
I'm just tossing that out now.
Okay, let's keep it fine.
Fred's up, and then Fred.
Where are you from?
I'm from San Francisco.
Yeah, it is
And
warm.
You said you all, and I turned around to my sister and I said, well, I wonder where she's from. I would have never tied you all to San
That's where it
Francisco.
comes from. That's still just stuck in my head.
Good luck in your new assignment.
Thank you very much.
Now, you're with what newspaper again?
I'm with
Or,
Candy.
I mean,
Candy.
KVU.
Mr. Turner, Mr. Brock.
Did you talk to Rich about Mr. Boulay?
No, I didn't. I talked to Frank about it. But that's why we asked Rich to come in so we can talk about it.
Boulay wants to see.
His project.
Huh? George Boulay.
George, yes. No, I didn't. Actually, I talked to Rich just briefly this morning, and that's all. But actually, Rich is here because of that phone call that I got from Mr. Goulet, and you had talked to Mr. Goulet also, and Frank had some concerns, I guess, questions about the RV park prices at this time, and wanted to revisit it, thinking that maybe we need to come back more in line with the Sandy Heights down the street. So I asked Rich to come in with the information, and so we can discuss it again.
Now, who's Mr. Goulet?
Oh, he's just a citizen. I'm sure he's here for this 30-year class reunion. And I've known him for years, since I was a child. And
he must be old.
30 years.
And anyway, he's got friends coming in from out of town, and they were going to go to this place down the road. And he was saying that we were $5 a night more than they. Is that true?
I'd heard the same thing.
Then Sandy?
That wasn't totally accurate.
No, it's not.
Then Sandy? Then Sandy?
I said we had to be, we were trying to be careful to be pretty close to the same, but we didn't want to undermine them.
But here's one of the things that we need to look at is what are we offering in relationship to what they're offering in the dollars. And one of the things that they're offering down there is a swimming pool, and our water park is not a swimming pool. I mean, it's not the same.
Plus they're also a hot tub, a playground area, a
Which
rec
Neve
hall.
and I wanted.
A rec hall.
Yeah.
Oh, rec
Yeah.
hall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But we offer washers and dryers and showers and,
Do they offer that?
yeah.
They offer the same
and-
thing. What I'm
but
saying is,
they're on site at track too. They're on site.
and they do. Apparently, they have them there too.
Okay, so what did we, so our rate is what?
Our rate right now is 31 a day.
31.
That's for non-track users, and it's 24 for track users.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Sandy's is 28.53.
Can you give me the 31 a day for non-track?
And 24 days for track.
24.
And that does include taxes.
Does his include taxes?
His 28.53 does include taxes.
Does?
Does. It's 26.21 plus 232 for tax per day.
Folks, I want to get my 2 cents in early on this. I think we need to drop our rates to $25 on people coming off the street and $20 for people at the facility.
Oh, come on.
100% of nothing is nothing.
I know, but we can't go less than Sandy Heights.
Neva, we're not offering the same service they're offering down there. We're not comparing apples to apples.
Except that
it-
you will
they'll-
still be
They'll have
accused
the
of-
perception that we're undermining private business.
Well, they can
But
do
that's
it-
my only concern.
They can have the perception they want. When they've got a swimming pool and a rec hall and we don't have that, we can't all charge the same amount. We're charging more. We can't charge legitimately the same amount and expect to get it.
Well,
Now, we were offering identically the same thing. That's another story.
I'm
We are
looking
not.
at $24 if they're track users versus $28.53 if at Sandy.
Well, Sandy
That's a
does
pretty
do a
good
10% discount
Over track users, or
if they're coming down the track, so they're charging $26.05 if the person that's coming in is going down the track for an event.
Folks, we're not filling that place up out there. We need to do it. And we have to look at it. There has to be an incentive. And our good looks just aren't going to do it. Although it certainly is a help, I realize that.
Yeah, I'm getting inquiries. I got 6 this week so far, and nobody's come back and wanted to rent, and I think it's.
well, sure, Frank's out there telling them we're getting took. That's why.
But outside of that-
I don't think that's the case because we are higher than Sandy's down the road.
But even at the same price, we're not
Well,
offering the same thing.
Yeah, we're
and that's
not
the point.
offering as much. That is one thing.
Absolutely.
I don't think we have, and we'd talked long years ago about putting a wading pool and things. We don't have any room to do that now, do we?
We can't do it.
Because we provide all this other entertainment at track.
You know what? I can't not add this. You know, one thing that track will have, doesn't have right now, but will have shortly, is access to restaurants and a lot of things that the other one does. You know, I mean, you can walk across the street to Hayden's right now and have a nice restaurant where you can't do that at Sandy Isles.
Yeah, true.
You know, as you know, the marketplace is right down the road. So you know, I mean, we don't have, you know, we don't offer a pool and we don't offer a concession. We don't offer a lot of stuff that they have down there. But on the other hand, we're going to have the conveniences of other things
But
too.
with all that, we're still not filling that thing up. And we have got to get people in there. 100% of nothing is still nothing. And when you talk about price, you've got to get people in the door.
Well, I for one, am kind of disappointed with the empty park.
I am too.
And if I think it's a good idea to take a look at this, you know, maybe we need to make some
Well,
adjustments.
maybe we can do this for a while and bring them back up if the demand is
we
there.
can always increase if
Absolutely. Absolutely. We need to start getting people to come there.
And it goes back to the class reunion early on. There was one of, I think, your classmates called me and asked me, and that's when we were looking at $35. And we dropped it down to 31, but they've got 20 or 30 people that was wanting to come in for that, and they decided that, you know, they haven't called me back.
Well, this isn't my class
Sure.
reunion. It's
Well, this-
the one this weekend.
Hers is much longer years than that.
No, there was somebody from her
Oh, from
class
her
reunion.
class.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that called.
Is your
Shirley.
class on the reunion?
30 years ago when Neva was a girl.
Just curious, what does the Sandy down the street, what do they charge for a monthly rate?
$350, and that's power, water, sewer, and cable.
What do we
And
do?
we provide the same thing.
Yeah,
What do we charge for, or do we have a monthly rate?
$350 or $375.
Well,
What do they charge for a weekly rate?
$171.17,
272. What do you charge?
$185
And then their day rates
or
are
$28.53,
That's including tax.
and that's including.
and
tax.
ours is 30.
Ours is too.
Ours includes tax too.
31.24. Well,
We've got 47 spots there, folks. We have to address that with what we're having to offer in relationship to what everybody else has to offer and price it accordingly. We've got to put
I
people
don't
in
know.
the
What
door.
about that one out there by King City? Do we know those rates? And the one there on North 4th?
I don't know whether I've got their rates or not.
I mean, they're not traveler parks, but
they're not traveler friendly, the one on North 4th. That's pretty more, pretty much
set your trailer in there, because my brother was there for a while.
I mean, they're not unfriendly to travelers, I just meant there's more permanent ones.
Yeah. They're
I
all.
guess.
Well, I was looking at something, the Horn Rapids, which is across the river.
Another thing to think about King City is that is a rat race out there. I mean, you park there, you're going to get lots of noise.
King City's 29.24 a day, or not King City, but Horn Rapids, which is over the Richland line, Richland Bypass Highway. Their 7-day rate is $204.69, but then that's at the 29.24, but they do a weekly rate of $175.
I think your day rate is the most important thing to adjust here, really.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a RV park up in Prosser is about the similar. And they've got two different rates of 23 and 25, 23 during the week, 25 on weekends. And then the premium, they got a 30 and 35. And they've got different rate structure for different types of pull-ins.
Well, do
and
we have
spaces.
we have a suggestion for amounts then? Or changes in?
Well, on the monthly rate, we're 25 over Sandy's, and I would, look at dropping that down at least to be the same as they are, or even $25 less because we don't have the amenities.
What's your recommendation?
$325.
Anybody want to make a motion on a weekly rate?
And then a weekly rate of $150, and then a daily rate of 26.
Why don't we put a daily rate of $25 on that thing?
Does that include tax?
Including taxes, yes.
Okay, let's just.
25, that will then net out $22.67. Then the rest is tax.
What was your weekly rate again? That's your suggestion.
$150.
And
that nets out $135.99.
Well, we can raise these
just to
rates.
get it started, I'll make a motion that we go to those amounts.
Is there a second?
What was the motion?
The amounts that.
That $25 a day.
Rich just
25 a
quoted.
day, $150 weekly, $325 monthly.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. With the caveat that if this gets
need to
going
monitor it.
and it,
Well, always you can adjust. Always you can adjust. Now, what about people coming into the show, though? That's another issue, because the daily rates are 25 and they're coming in, we're only giving them a $1 break. So what are we looking at that now?
Well,
I think they
let's
should
just
pay
leave it like
I
it
think
is.
they should pay the daily rate themselves.
Let's just let it be what it
Because
is.
that's a convenience to them.
Yeah.
But we're not going to have many of those folks coming in for the rest of the year.
For the rest of the year,
We
yeah.
probably have some with the Gun and Antique Show and some with Chester's.
I just think for $1 difference, I don't think it's a big deal to give them another $1 difference. Having never had a camper or anything to park in these things, I'm kind of a novice at it.
All right.
Does somebody want to?
Are we done? What's that?
This is the signage that we were talking about. One of the issues that is going along with the RV park is trying to get some signage on the freeway, and I finally got, I guess, going to critical email to the guy's boss. I got immediately a response back for the request for the market information signing.
Uh-huh.
And it's got several different caveats there. And the one that there's two camp number B, 20 camping spaces of 50% have to accommodate tents. And we can accommodate tents either on the pads or on the grass. However, if you go on the grass, then you're gonna have some damage to the ground there, or the lawn over a period of time if they're there over 2 or 3 days. And then the other one was
Yeah, but that
having
comes
a,
back.
Yeah, it
You
does
know,
come back.
It's just like over at the fairgrounds. I mean,
It
I
does
look
come
at
back.
that lawn, how awful it looks by the end of the fair,
But
but
it's-
it comes
it's
back.
water.
Yeah,
It's
I
right
got
back.
I got one site last week at the port of our show that used a tent. You can see where the damage is, and you know we're putting extra water on it. And probably in 2 weeks you won't notice it's even there. And then
What do
the
they
oth-
charge for the tents?
I've been going $15.
They're $15 extra for the tents.
$15 if they use the site for a tent site.
Oh, $15
Okay.
if they just use it
For a tent site.
and nothing else.
Nothing else, no.
Because they don't use.
They don't. A lot
They
of
don't
them
have
don't use.
electricity or.
They might have electricity, but
Oh,
you
they got
know,
the
not
water.
much of it.
You
Yeah,
know,
they have the
water.
they have the
Oh, the
water
water.
there. They can go out and utilize it. That's what I've been charging, and I haven't had a whole lot of interest
No,
on.
I've seen a few of them in there.
Yeah.
But I've seen a few tents in there that'll come in with the RV itself.
How come the application fee is crossed out?
Because that one I don't know. He crossed it out probably because we're a state government agency, and we probably have gone through the same thing with the freeway signage.
Okay.
And the others, we have to have a 24-hour manager on duty or attendant. And in mid-August, I will have a lady on site who will be a full-time user of track. Not user of track, but they're full-time, and she would be available for
Any
a
emergencies
camp,
at
yeah,
that.
camp host.
Will she have her camper there?
Yeah,
Or
she will.
she's
She
gonna
will
live
have
in
her
hers?
camper. She will be living there. She has been living down at Sandy Heights, but she is also one of our part-time employees, bartender, cocktail type person that works the events for us. So it's handy for her, and they do camp hosting throughout.
Well,
the
that's
year.
ideal for her then.
Yeah. And what we'll do is we'll pay her. We can either go two ways: barter system. She puts in so many hours and for free use of the site. So
Mhm.
I think that's probably what we're looking at. Is that her and her husband, between the two of them, have to put in so many hours and they get the site free.
And they're the kind of people that would be real cordial and really
Oh yeah,
go out of their way.
they do camp hosting. That's what they're doing right now,
Oh.
all during the summer for the state and federal parks.
Oh, cool. That's what I'm going to do.
So that, in August, we will have that.
4 years?
Yeah. But I don't know whether it needs to go, this needs to go into a resolution.
Yeah, I think so, but we need to get this in as soon as we can so we can get the
Yeah,
signage
get
up.
going.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want, is it complete enough that you want to assign a number?
I don't, do we
know.
have a federal fax number?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And the physical address and they've crossed out fees and application subject to RCWF. Okay.
Well,
And
that's
that's what he was got back here. Is this-
Okay.
So are you going to fill this out and then
I can get it filled out and brought back.
and then bring it to Pat?
Okay.
Bring back a
So you don't want
completed
to.
document here, so we don't have to do
You don't
anything.
want to approve it today and have it filled out. You want to
We'll
wait
just
till
have
Monday.
it on the consent.
Have it on the consent agenda for Monday,
I
right?
was just
Okay.
going to get a.
Okay, so we can look at it ahead of time, but have it on the consent agenda.
Yeah.
And then I, just real quickly.
You want that back?
No, that's your copy. I've got
Alright.
the original.
Okay.
You've got the financials through June.
So,
And so we're $9,400 to the good, and then we deposited $3,500 over the weekend.
More?
Yeah.
okay, so that means,
We're about 12 right now.
well, we can't really go by
Yeah, you
the
really
yearly
can't.
projection because we didn't open at the first of the
Right.
year, so I think what we have to do is just take actual and not worry about what we budgeted.
You know what, though, Neva, we only budgeted for
6 months. 6 months budget's all it was.
Yeah.
See, we didn't figure on
At
that.
254,000?
I think so. I think it was a 6
Well,
month.
that's a full year.
Is it?
Yeah.
How does it, but we talked about, something happened here because we talked about budgeting just for 6 months, because we knew when it was gonna
In
open.
6 months.
Maybe we built our current expense budget based on 6 months.
Because we didn't budget. In our conversation, we didn't budget for,
We budgeted our current expense for 6 months.
because the thing wasn't done.
What are you saying? What did we budget in our current expense?
Our revenues that we were going to receive off of.
Oh.
And they couldn't have
And
been
do we know what that was?
I think it was $60,000.
Oh, yeah, much less than
Okay, okay.
Can I ask one more question though on this? You're talking, I don't think I'm getting ahead of us. On the national publications, are those amounts advertisements in them or what?
Mhm.
1,450?
We do get advertisements in there.
Do we have them in there?
They're on the process. We just got the
Okay.
vouchers back for the National Trail of Life. The Family Motor Coach is already done. The Washington RLEC has been submitted and went through.
Thank you. So ours is rely heavily with us.
So with those revised rates, we can expect full park, right?
We'll do the best we can.
Just go out there on the road,
Well,
flag
let me
them
tell you,
in.
it certainly isn't going to hurt tenants.
No.
It's not.
Do we have any timeline on the signs for the freeway? They didn't give you any kind of a.
As soon as we can get these in, I think probably within 6 weeks. I think he'll probably put a push on since I got a little mad.
Okay.
Thank you, Rich.
No,
That's all right.
that's. Thanks, Rich.
You bet now.
You know what? We keep telling them we want more money, and we keep cutting prices for things.
Anybody in there, you're not going to have any
Well, we
revenue.
have to remember, we're having growing pains. We gotta.
This is right. People have to know we're there. And one of the ways to get them in is if they're
Is
happy
to give
with
them a break,
service,
yeah.
and the others, they have to be happy
I guess
with
we're not
price.
really giving them a break. We're simply just treating them better than we did.
But I still contend we're not offering the same service as you are down the road, and we have to justify that.
That's true.
Well, I hope it's a positive that we get it filled up more. Because $25 or 20 whatever, 2 something is better than 0 at this point.
Well,
It's a lot better.
if it was in the right district, I would have moved there for a few weeks. But I'm a commissioner in transit. I just live around.
Okay, the next one on the agenda is the tree removal. This is the trees out in front of the courthouse. In order to remove those, the price came in at $3,249.
Where's your agenda here?
What did I do? Did I?
Oh, this is, excuse me, Fred, this is your, it says Fred's Lawn up there.
What did I do with Fred's agenda? Lost it.
I saw Rich Turner and he had
Oh,
the
it's got
agenda
this-
and I got it.
If you go to
That's
the
it?
next page,
Oh, I have Rich Turner on the top one, so
that's
why
the
I have a
price
problem.
there
That's the one.
for removing the 4 trees.
I think that's pretty reasonable.
Well, that doesn't include removing the wood. I mean, they're going to buck it up and stack it up. I figured there'd be enough people.
Now, how
to
did
haul
you
that.
arrive
That want
at the
wood,
figure
that
that
would
that was
probably haul it
reasonable?
away.
Because of what I paid
Pardon
for
me?
just trimming trees.
We just had.
Well, I tell you, it makes a lot of difference
And by
who you
day,
get on these things.
I got
On that,
removing, get chopped down for $700.
Oh,
Now, these
you know who
trees-
is that guy? Well, who is that guy?
I can get it.
These trees are the blue spruces that are just completely diseased and nasty. Anyway,
Were yours diseased and nasty?
They were diseased, they weren't blue spruce, but they were big old elm trees.
And how much?
$700.
But I think I got him, I mean, I called
how many
21st
trees
of the
did you
tribes.
remove?
That time they had 4, before we had like 8.
How much do they charge you a tree, Mary?
It varied because some they chopped completely, some.
Well, we
they
have
didn't.
4.
And we did the cleanup. We did the cleanup, which is a big factor.
Yeah, they're going
Oh.
to do the cleanup.
What's the matter?
Who gets the wood on this, Fred?
Whoever wants to take it away. They wanted another $800 to remove the wood. I figured for $800, it's probably whoever wants to come in and
Well,
grab
couldn't
it.
we get Sally's crew to do it?
Well, yeah, you can remove it and haul it off to the dump.
The wood has a value, folks.
Yeah, there is
If
a
you haul it to the dump, you're going to pay for it.
Well,
Yeah,
Well-
but I think people will come and get it.
I mean,
Without
stick a
question,
sign
they'll
up,
come.
put free wood, and for $800 to have them haul it away, they're going to haul it away and sell it.
Yeah.
So we'd be better off just to put a sign on there, free wood, and watch it disappear and save us $800.
We have to see you before you go to college and leave us or something.
I didn't recognize her.
She's
My
grown up
goodness.
just a tad.
I think so. Hi, Anita.
Hi. Sorry.
That's okay.
That's all right.
Did you have to write something in there if Anita showed up?
Yeah. That's your second claim to fame.
Actually, I'm showing you this. You did give me direction to remove those trees. This is the price that came in on them. And I guess I just wanted you to have the opportunity to say yay or nay one more time because we're going to take them out.
Yeah, I think it's plenty. But
Was
we're gonna
that a
have to
tree
allow.
service that did yours?
Yeah.
Do you think we should try them? Or?
I can have John call. He called a couple different people.
Yeah.
You know,
to get
and
these
I ran
prices.
into this myself, Fred. I had a guy come out. We had a bad storm, and I had a tree that had a limb knocked off. And I came out, and I said, "What do you want to take out that whole tree?" And the guy said, $1,000 to take out the tree. My God, I had another guy. I waited a little bit. I took care of the limb and waited a little bit. And the guy came out, and for $1,000, he took out that tree and did some trimming for me. And I ended up paying him maybe $1,600, $1,700 when they're all done. But this tree going out was included.
I'll have John call.
And when he first gave it to me, I said, "Don't even bother coming because we can't pay that much." And he said, "Oh, I can do it for this." And so,
But that cleanup is a big job.
That,
And the first time I ever had it done, that wasn't
You could
negotiated.
always
And that's a mistake.
check with Robert.
He's Robert.
It's this buddy of Neva's here.
No more.
All right. Well, we'll get some more prices on it, and then. we're
is
gonna
this
just have it
something we
done.
need to get done right away?
Well, yeah, we wanted to get it done because
Get
we're
it
going to
done
start
and out of
staging in that area, but I had too much going on this week and we couldn't get the contracts ready to go. So I said, I just wanted to get approval on it, so then Nita could sign the contracts when they're ready to go.
Have they started putting the things up around the courthouse?
I haven't been over there in the last.
Oh,
couple of days.
I was gonna drive by this morning. I didn't.
Oh, it would be on the inside.
On the inside, so you couldn't see it.
No,
You have to wear a hard hat if you go on the
They
inside.
let you in there.
Clyde will let you in. He's got hard hats for everybody, so when you go over there,
Where is his
Do we have our
office?
names on ours?
it's the coroner's old office behind the print shop. Yeah, you can put your name on it.
Put our names on it. Be
I
our
told
own special
John
hard
not to
hat.
put the names on it because he uses a felt pen and he's not real.
Artistic.
Well, I was going to say his penmanship is, and mine is too, so I'm not bad mouthing anybody. I think that they should be put it on with somebody.
Well,
that's
so
better than
should
that.
we have a motion to approve getting someone to remove those?
Well, you already did.
Gotta get some different prices.
We already did that.
All right. I
Okay.
don't think that's a bad price myself, but
Irwin Trust. Apparently, you sent Tim to see me.
Yes. Where to come up with the money, because the $116,000 we're gonna have to pay out, we get back $136, and we said we wanna see where the money is.
Well, there's only one place that I can see where you can grab it, and that's the rainy day fund. There's $134,185.38 in there, and you can basically take it out of that and just put it back in when the money comes back in.
And it has to stay there, we can't,
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you wanted to do that, then you can go ahead and pay off the property and then bring back and reimburse that fund.
Let's do it that way.
Yeah.
And then we'll get it done.
yes.
When it's coming back in, it's not quite the issue of when it's not coming back.
Okay, are we,
Do you need a motion on this
but
today? Or do you
isn't
need-
that a little shy though? Don't we have to pay 136?
No, we have to pay 116.
Oh, and
The
we did.
principal
100.
remaining is 116.
We get
I move
100%
approval
back.
of taking the $116,000 and some odd dollars from the rainy day fund, or from the rainy day fund to pay for. Is it the AIC that we pay, or what is it?
Well,
To pay the-
Irwin Trust.
Oh, to pay for the Irwin Trust purchase.
Okay.
Is that a motion?
I could get to it. The money which we bring back in must be put back in the rainy day fund.
I'll second that Marvel's motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I can even add a few more things if you'd like, but they wouldn't be pertinent to the subject.
Okay, what else?
That's all I have.
No
right
executive
now.
session?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay, when are we gonna start our budget study? We need,
I think everything's scheduled to start at noon.
Do we want to start a little early?
You can, if Tom's available.
Okay.
Are you treating him?